If so, we know we're coming. If so, we know we're coming.
Finally making it work. Speaking of making it work, it's Quatic finally making some inroads here on behalf of.
He gets in the back shadows.
Oh my god. Hello?
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 Uh-oh.
I don't think this time. They're not gonna get back in touch. Nobody's noticed. No.
Four ultimates of their own. This next fight, oh man.
Oh, I like that. They're freezing the Sigma so we can't eat the May ulti and popping it on everyone. Looks like ulti will be killed. Oh my god! Yeah, Bongo. Take it down, big shadow, you! All right, welcome everybody back to some local South African Overwatch action. My name is SunPheonyx and I'm joined, as per usual, at least recently, by NaoriMizuki. Welcome.
Can you call the second time per usual?
Probably not, but I did anyway, so...
Okay, well, I respect that.
All right, so joined by Peach as well. Peach producing his first game, so it's bound to be a complete mess. And if it is a complete mess, then please, at ThePeachZA on Twitter, send all your
Yeah,
hate
shout at
mail.
him. Leave us alone.
Yeah, in public where you can see it. Today we've got an interesting matchup for you. A team we haven't yet casted officially, but there is some sneaky player stream footage out there of TSG TeamMist. They, coming off the back of a seriously surprising upset victory against a team we thought pretty strong in the form of Omnius Gaming Kintsugi, managing to 3-0 them in convincing fashion, it has to be said. That team with a little bit of rebuilding to do. But on the other side, we do have IVG Calypso, a team we've seen in our first game, in fact, where they were unfortunately taken down against a very strong-looking Odyssey roster. So, should be an interesting match, I think. What do you think we're going to see here, NaoriMizuki?
I think for the moment, it's probably favoring TeamMist. Just off the back of that win against OG, as you mentioned, you know, they're kind of looking like on paper they looked like quite a formidable team. So, I mean, you said, you know, it was a bit of an upset, and I can kind of agree with that. But we also know that Odyssey being quite a strong team at the moment, so that victory over Calypso was kind of telling. And I don't think that Calypso would have been given the opportunity to really perform against a team that performs that much better. So I think now this might be a little bit more evenly matched, but I'm kind of leaning towards TeamMist on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, 100% TeamMist, given their recent results, looking much stronger. But like you say, just to see how Calypso stack up against a team that's not quite the caliber of Odyssey. Maybe it'll look a bit better for them. Just to mention a few changes here between these two teams. TeamMist, identical roster, but slightly different roles from the previous match against OG. Hamster has now moved on to that off-tank position. I believe he was playing DPS before. Nyan has moved on to that TPS role from the tank position. Otherwise, all the same. And then on the side of IVG Calypso, roster almost identical. One actual roster change. That's Miss Jones in for Christmas on that Lucio role. And there is a role switch by BK7 swaps for Slick onto the tank and supports respectively. So small changes. It should be interesting to see how these two teams match up here.
It's always good to see some flexibility. Sorry, among the players, just being able to off-roll a little bit, play some interesting things, and potentially throw the enemy team off guard. You know, you're expecting somebody to come out on a particular hero, you see them come out on a completely different role, and it can really throw you off your game and kind of mess with your mental a bit. So curious to see how that's going to stack up with these two guys. Moving over onto Oasis here, and this is a pretty strong Pharah map, but it's also a fairly strong dive map. That being said, both of these teams don't really care, and they're going to stick with something that's a little bit more typical at the moment. We mentioned it a couple days ago in our last broadcast, and we'll mention it again. This is a composition that we're seeing quite popular in the Overwatch League, although there is a little bit of a variation here. We're seeing Hamster there on the Zarya instead of the Diva, and of course we've got Hemi there. Okay, there we go. I didn't think the Torb was legit. So coming out onto that May makes a little more sense.
Yes, it does. In theory, Zarya on paper quite a good counter to the Diva, but in practice it doesn't actually work out like that. The Diva is just so much more agile, able to get a lot more down on the map. The Zarya tends to struggle to put the value in, but in a 1v1, the Zarya wins basically every time. So let's see if Hamster will be able to force that battle. Trizzle dropping down a little bit low here as we look through the eyes of our Russian off-tank. Oh, charge going in. Mr. Falcon taken down there. Nice purple coming in from Pale Native to drop him down. And looks like they're going to get quite aggressive here. Sorry, not Pale Native, Slick it was. And I think you might want to cap the point here. Yeah. Rich
So
going
that's
to pick up a
something-
nice couple of kills towards the end of it as well.
That's something that's really important to note in the difference between the Diva and the Zarya. That anti-nade came through. Without a Diva, you can't eat it. The anti comes through, gets 2 or 3 people, and just like that, if the follow-up is there, you've lost the fight. That's why Diva, it's one of the reasons that she's so incredibly strong at the moment, and both teams have an Anna, so going to make it a little bit more difficult to capitalize when you're running the Zarya.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, both teams getting aggressive. That's a nice
Ooh,
charge
that's a
all the way
charge.
through. Falcon takes Pale Net
Ooh.
to Slick BK7, sorry, all the way back, but a nice return onto Mr. Falcon. Will net BK7 that kill. Pale Native with a follow-up kill onto Hamster here. So far, so good for our IVG Calypso side. Not quite going as we expected it, at least in this early stage. Return kills coming in as Metal still picks up one, but Pale Native gonna get aggressive. Following up onto a nice wall there by Hemisphere to just clean up the rest of the team fight.
Couple of exit frags there from TeamMist, and that's great for just adding to your ult bank, and they really need it at this point. All they really have at the moment is the High Noon, the Deadeye. They're going to have the Blizzard fairly soon, and if Metal Snow can keep up that healing, hopefully they'll have that nano boost. But on the other side, we got quite a few ultimates online, most notably, of course, the Self-Destruct, and there we go, the High Noon.
High Noon used here, nice and early. Doesn't seem to be finding any. We're all kind of gummed up there
Oh,
in the
what?
corridor. Oh, okay. Taking somebody down there. Mr. Falcon going down. Yeah, not looking good for them. Peach, I don't know if you realize, but you do not have
He doesn't have
the kill feed on stream.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah,
Yeah, you might want to fix that one, friend.
People die, but on the kill feed. That's
So there
lobby
was...
settings. What the
Yeah,
shit?
that is
Oh my
lobby
God.
settings.
That needs to be fixed in the next match. Anyways.
Oh, here we go. Blizzard comes out.
Mayalty, yeah, coming in here. Although Trizzle taking down immediately. Not off to a good start here in this team fight. Rich finds a second one, taking 9 down during the Deadeye. Can they find anything else here? I mean, they're firmly in control here. Calypso, Rich finds the third one. Is he going to pick up all 6 here? Somebody stop this, man. The McCree, the Cowboy, doing all the work for Calypso as they clean up. That's 4 for Rich, and it's 100 for Calypso.
Now, in that previous fight, we got a little sidetracked by the kill feed, but I love the patience from Rich and SA. He dropped that Deadeye. Maywall came out to block it off, and instead of kind of prematurely ending the ultimate, he just waited it out. And as soon as that Maywall went down, TeamMist assumed that the ultimate had run its course. Reinhardt dropped shield, and they managed to get a 2k out of it. Fantastic patience there from Rich, and I really want to see a little bit more of that as we move into the rest of the series. Fairly dominant display here from Calypso on map 1, but TeamMist, I wouldn't say they're down and out just yet. I think, however, they do need to really consider that Zarya. I see they're swapping over onto the Moira here, and the added heals will definitely help. But again, if you become anti-naded, you can have all the heals you want. It's not going to help. So they really need to find a way to deal with those antis.
100%. Something just occurred to me as well. The kill cam is on for me and not on for Peach, so something tells me it's not a lobby setting, so just check that. Wall going in here. Oh, aggressive charge and nice follow-up from Calypso as they take down Biko 7. Sorry, that was TSM there, TSG, sorry, taking down the main tank for Calypso. Looks like they're just going to clean up here. Pretty easy fight there. A little bit of an over-aggressive play there by Biko 7. BK7 costs his team the first fight here as TSG finally able to pick up some momentum here.
Yeah, great play there. I like the swap over onto the Reaper, add a little bit of extra damage there, and there was a nice little anti that came onto BK as well, and that meant that he went down quite quickly. Once he went down, the rest of Calypso fell apart. TSG have a nice little hold here on this point, but they've got the Coalescence ready as well. That's going to be super helpful coming into this next fight.
Be careful, dropping very low is Chef here. Managing to keep himself alive there, like you say now, that Coalescence in the bag, chooses to use it now, gonna keep his tanks alive. Hamster finds the kill again, BK7 going down first here, as Misty Falcon feeling pretty comfortable, getting aggressive with the shadow, finds two in the backline, maybe a bit unnecessary, but I think good way to secure the team fight for TSG.
A little bit of style points there. Needed to just get that out of the way. Ensure the fight win because they were dangerously close to enemy spawn and they didn't want to even risk the possibility that respawns would come through and they would somehow lose out that fight. 2 ultimates used there, but Calypso coming back. They're going to have 4 ultimates online and very soon 5. This could be a dominant fight win.
Could be a dominant fight for either team. The Shadow doesn't find anything. A really nice bubble from Hamster onto Misty Falcon. Keeps his Ryan very healthy. Here comes the ulti from Trizzle, assisted by the Nano Boost. Doesn't find anything. Gets cancelled very quickly by the May. Freezing up everybody. That's a Venn diagram with a lot of overlap. But Rich NSA, he's going to be the one that makes the difference here for the side of Calypso as they finally manage to win a team fight here on University. Pushing, apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Pushing TSG back towards their spawn for a nice clean take. Although, just give a few extra percent. You know, why not?
There you go. I kind of felt bad for Misty Falcon there. He had his shield up for the self-destruct, but standing literally right behind him was Rich and SA with the Deadeye. And so no matter what he did, he was going to die there. And he did go down, and nice clean take, but a lot of ultimates used in that fight. And TSG still have 2 in the bag.
Really nice wall there from Hemisphere. Secures them the kill on Metal Snow. A commitment of the Graviton. Not how I would have played this. Let's see if they are managed to sneak anything out of this. Aggressive play. They find 2. Fight now even, but a return kill from Hemisphere. Pale's mech gonna drop here, and the Coalescence out from Chef. Gonna be keeping his team quite healthy here, but a good wall. With some cut up from his team. Has to work his way around. A little bit Hamster though. Taken down by Rich and SA, who's been a serious difference maker for this Calypso squad. Couple of games we see in Metal Snow though finds a return kill on Hemisphere. So far neither team with the advantage. That Shadow a little bit ambitious there. Misty Falcon with a good block, preventing Biko 7 from finding any value with the Earth Shadow. Now getting frozen up in the back, frozen completely, and a counter charge by Falcon. Gonna keep himself healthy. Trizzle here on the Reaper, getting aggressive. That Shadow finds, he wants to kill this one. Miss Jones taken down. Pale follows quickly in suit, and Hemisphere just going to jump on point here, find his team some space to charge through onto Rich NSA. Not going to give him any opportunity to try and turn this one around. And it looks like TSG going to restabilize on the point here with 72 on the clock.
Calypso really staggered out there, and of course there's the advantages and disadvantages of that. Advantage being you've given yourself a little bit more percentage. Disadvantage, look at the ult bank for TSG. This is massive. This is last fight territory as well.
Absolutely. Trizzle booped away during his ulti, but he still finds Miss Jones. Miss Jones nowhere near her ult, so not but in such point here, they do manage to do just that. Hemisphere on that May, going to keep his team in this one, but unfortunately, doesn't look like it's going to be too much, as TSG going to be pretty good on the clapback here and bring this up to 1-1.
Oh, with all of those ultimates in the bank for that last little fight, and you just have the one fight to win, TSG played that pretty well, bringing the scoreline up to a 1-0. And you know what they say, the first map was a warm-up, so it seems maybe the first round was just a little bit of a warm-up for TSG. And now we find out who's going to take home Oasis. I nearly said Busan. As we move over to the last map here. And again, very strong dive map, but both teams opting to stick with what they've been running all along. The Moiras definitely seem to work out quite well for TSG. However, Nyan, oh man, come on. I was really, I was hyped for the Hanzo.
If you don't see a May, just assume the May is coming. right?
Oh man. Well, I'm seeing the diva, and that makes me pretty happy. I'm glad to see that they have made
Yeah.
that swap off the mobility, the high ground control. It's really imperative to have a diva on your team for this.
Yeah, this map especially very important. So Hamster going to be switching on to the Diva. It's both teams to get aggressive. That wall seemed pretty decent, but not able to find anything. That's a big anti-heal though from Slick onto the TSG side, and is the team able to get an advantage here? Kills going both ways, but Trizzle, with that kill on Rich and SA, going to be buying his team the space to aggress themselves on towards the point here, and most likely secure themselves a first point cap on Oasis. This map, what is this point called?
I think this is yeah, I think this is
Gardens?
University. Is this
No,
Gardens?
University is the previous one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Gardens
You're right.
is the first one.
The donut map. Thank you, Prod. That's super helpful.
It's gonna
Actually don't know what
City
the last one
Center,
is
City
called.
Center, City Center. That's what's called.
Ah, there we go. That makes sense. Color caster, by the way.
Yeah. Teams moving towards each other. That wall cutting off TSG from the rest of the Calypso squad. Not really the best wall, but does buy them maybe a little bit of space to get aggressive. Yeah, that's a much better wall. Splits the team up a little bit. Good follow up with the bomb. Mallet huge. It is Hamster with the 4K with the self-destruct. That is game over for this team fight.
That was so well played. They knew that Hemi didn't have a wall. They just threw out that self-destruct with reckless abandon, and somehow it gets the 4K. Oh, you hate to see it. Unfortunate here for Calypso, but they have managed to regroup, and they're going to come back with 3 ultimates, almost 4. So hopefully they'll have an opportunity here to turn this around. TSG, on the other hand, 5 ultimates online, looking poised to hold as we count up towards the 70% mark.
Good rotation here from Calypso. BK7 stand up for a moment. There are lots of ultis going both ways for both teams, but Rich, he's the one getting all the value. That Deadeye picking up 2 in the backline. 2 very important heroes for TSG. There's a Shadow, finds Hamster on the ground. That Baby Diva not likely long for this wall, but a good counter charge. 9 finding kills in the background. This looks like a huge turnaround if they can get it.
Oh
Pale
my word,
gonna have to try
what?
and secure this one for his team. He pops his ulti, the self-destruct, but it's not enough. TSG holding strong, completely outplayed Calypso there.
TSG had 0 right to hold on to that point. And now we're seeing Calypso swapping over onto something way more dive-centric. They want to get onto the point as quickly as possible to try and contest it out.
Yeah, BK7 back in here on the ball. Hemisphere taken down very quickly. His Tracer not able to find any value just yet. That's a Shadow. He finds one on the ground, but a good ulti from Miss Jones. The sound barrier going to be buying her team a little bit of time here. Rich does get a kill onto Trizzle in the meanwhile, though. That Doomfist could it be the difference maker here for Calypso, but it's not looking good for them as the self-destruct goes through, cutting off the reinforcement a little bit. Falcon gets a charger to Miss Jones, taking it down. BK7 frozen up here as Pale as D make the punch, or the kill rather, from Hamster. Secures TSG map number 1 after a bit of a shaky start, it has to be said.
Quite a turnaround from map 1. They were looking very shaky on map 1. Map 2, they kind of hit their stride. And map 3, they just absolutely dominated. Some fantastic play here. I really got to hand it to the tanks, I think. They've been playing very well together and seeing some fantastic ultimates as well. Not just how they utilize their own ultimates, but seeing how many shatters Mist Falcon was able to block. Fantastic. You love to see that from your Reinhardt.
Yeah, 100%. Very impressive play, but I'm glad to see Calypso putting up quite a strong fight here. Although, if we follow the kind of trend of these maps, it seems like TSG really hitting their stride and just getting better and better and better throughout that first map. But it is only the first map, and how do you feel about Calypso's performance on that? Also, I can confirm we do have kill feed for next map, so...
Hey,
Like I said, it's Peach's first time, please. He's losing his production virginity, so...
oh my god.
You know there's a bit of fumbling around in the dark that needs to happen.
I think that Calypso individually performed fairly well. They have some fantastic players. You know, Hemisphere has always been known as a terrifying Mei player. Rich and SA, we saw how he just popped off on that McCree earlier on. We saw some great nades come through from Slick, some antis that really opened up a lot of space for them. And Pale Native on that Diva also doing a lot of work, but I think that their issue comes in with how they're playing together, or more accurately, not. Getting that synergy is so important. Making sure that you're playing together. Your tanks play together. Making sure that your supports are peeling for each other. Your diva needs to be peeling for the backline as well. Your DPS need to be backing up your tanks, but also making sure that your supports are safe. All of this interplay, it's so small and nuanced, but it's very, very important to ensure that a team does well.
Our next map seems to be King's Row. So far, I mean, the most popular map in South African Overwatch history, and I mean, I
Yep.
don't hate to see it. I love watching this map. Um, if I had to guess, though, we're expecting to see more of the same out of these two teams on this map.
Very likely. I'd love to see a little bit more imagination out of these teams, though, and I think this is something we see a lot in the local ZA scene. They'll find a composition that is very popular, and they'll kind of run it to death.
Yeah.
And you want to see some creativity. We had the Scuffed Bucks tournament yesterday, and the
Shameless
two
plug.
teams in the grand final. Shh. The two teams in the grand final literally played dive for all three maps. As strong as this composition can be, sometimes you've got to get a little bit creative. We saw some soldier that it's surprising, but you can get so much done with a soldier. Batiste as well. Batiste's a soldier on steroids. There's so much more that you can do as a team. So I'd really like to see a little bit more out of these teams than just, the same old copy paste.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We've also not been seeing as much sort of pharmacy as I like. I think that hero can be a real nightmare to play against if you don't have super strong hit scan players on your team, or your team coordination is not as good. It's the kind of hero that can really split up a team, take advantage of any mistakes. So I'd like to see them leaning on their mechanics a little bit more and not trying to rely so much on perfect execution, as you say.
Yeah. I mean, a composition can only take you part of the way. How you execute that composition is worth so much more. And I think that some teams are possibly afraid of running dive because it requires that little bit more coordination to make sure that you are diving the same target at the same time. And these compositions, you can afford to rely a little bit more on your mechanical skill more than how you play as a team. So I think that might be why we're seeing it favored a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. So far, though, looks like okay, no, that's the attacking team. Let's ignore that for now. Let's not get it. On the defending team, though, it's tried and tested, and I think the onus at this point is more on Calypso than on TSG to make something fancy happen.
Yeah, pretty much. If we game computer, please. There we go. If we take a look at this defense here, again, more of the same. I'm enjoying this Moira pick. They did realize that it worked out quite well for them. A Lucio might work here as well, but I think given just the extra healing, just to keep them all up and keep them in the fight longer, the sustainability is definitely working in their favor. I'm excited to see here. It looks like we are going to see a little bit of that pharmacy that you were hoping for. We do know, however, that Moira is a hard counter to pharmacy once she gets coalescence, so gonna need to be careful for that.
Very aggressive start here from BK7 on the Wrecking Ball, going straight in, getting a bit of outcharge but dropping quite low. But you see the Sparrow forcing them to position themselves very carefully here on the side of TSG, putting in so much damage in the sphere on that Sparrow. BK7 getting nice and aggressive there. He puts in so much damage, gets all the HP back with the adaptive shield. But Nyan finds the kill onto Hemisphere. Is Miss Jones going to be able to find that resurrection? I think he died in a really poor spot if you're a fan of Calypso, and I don't think she's going to be able to. And it looks like they should pull back, maybe look for a reset here. She's also playing very aggressively here. But, sleeping in the background is the hamster, but no, not going to get taken down here. As we look to the eyes of the McCree. Hemisphere in the sky. Rich taken down by an errant Moira ball. That's not how you want to die if you're Widowmaker, and that's not what you want to see if you're a Calypso fan here, because now we're going to have to play a little bit more patient. But no, BK7 getting very aggressive in the background. You can't see it there as we look through the eyes of Misty Falcon, but he's going to be working his way out. But Pale Mate's mech dropping down as well. This is just trickle, and not a tear in sight.
Oh, jeez. Another errant orb manages to get a kill onto Pale Native.
Sorry, Hemisphere, what was that? What is he doing?
go.
He finds another. With the spawn advantage in the resurrection there from Miss Jones, maybe they're going to fight back into this one. It's now a 4v5 here as Rich comes back in on the Tracer. Be helped here by Miss Jones, keeping him healthy as he wants to get as much damage. Nice sleep! Oh, onto the Nano Ryan, cancelling the Earth Shadow. Their beautiful play from Slick's Anna, and there's a grab in here, the mix as well, but it's 2 minutes left on the clock, and this is not good enough if Calypso wants to take this point and this map. They need to get more, and they do finally get Mr. Falcon, but still, they're dropping so many heroes here with Trizzle coming back in on the Tracer here. Is Pale Native trying desperately to take him down. Nyan, though, finds one as Mr. Falcon, Metal Snow in the back line, finds another. Anna on Anna action here with the bomb. Finds anything, he does find one, and they do find a tick. That's pretty good for Calypso, but still not enough. As Hamster, very high charger on the Diva. Like I said before, that's the one you want to find if you're a Zarya, because you can clean that up pretty easily and beam down that fat mech with the greatest of ease, and it looks like Calypso are going to have to back out here in the world's most protracted fight.
What a messy fight. We saw some really, I'm going to say it, bad ultimates from both of these teams. Like,
concerning
they got
commitments,
zero value, you know? And now both teams, TSG managed to build up, like, all of their ultimates. They don't even care. I mean, Hamster has another grab. We questioned that grab at the start of the fight, and he's got another one. So he's performing pretty well. But Calypso...
very aggressive grab. Straight to the Diva self-distracted Trizzle with the big old follow-up, the big bang. We haven't seen that in 100 years. That's some 2017 stuff right there. But it works just as well in 2020.
Well, with just under 40 seconds left for Calypso to try and make something happen, they're going to be coming in with a Blizzard fairly soon, and they should be able to engage with the Nano Boost. But is it going to be enough? They've managed to only get one tick.
They are fighting into a Deadeye here as well. Oh, Calypso BK7 with the Nano taken down immediately. Hamster so charged up here. They're just going to clean this one up completely. TSG have found their rhythm, and they're dominating Calypso here on King's Row.
Calypso were looking so good on that very first Oasis map, and now TSG, turned on their monitors and finally showed up. And what a dominant defense here. There was a moment where it really looked like Calypso was going to take control of the point, but Hamster, you ever been in a comp game and your Zarya says to me, keep me up and we win? That was literally Hamster. It was like, just keep me alive, we'll win the fight. And it's exactly what happened. He whiffed that first grab, managed to build up another one because his charge was just off the charts. And by keeping him alive and keeping that damage pumping out, getting that Diva, getting Pale Native out of his mech, and consistently following through with the picks, they were able to stabilize. They played that so well. As messy as it was, they managed to pull it through.
What do you think Calypso needs to do here? I mean, we saw just a lot of discipline lacking there for Calypso, I think, as from what I could see. You think it's just an issue of discipline? What do they need to clean up here if they're going to full hold this?
I think communication might be an issue here because, again, they should have won that one fight, the one fight that went on for 10 years. They got a lot of really good picks there, but they're not noticing enemy mistakes. They're not punishing them. They're not capitalizing on them. And that really comes down to communication. You need to be able to say, Anna's out of position, or Diva's about to be demech'd, or Zarya's really high charge, we need to focus her down, or whatever the case may be. You've got to be communicating that to the rest of your team so that you can identify the biggest issue at any given time and pounce on it. When you have a numbers advantage, when you're in a 6v4 and you're still losing that fight, you've got to take a look at how well you're letting the rest of your team know what's going on.
Yeah. That said, though, we do have a completely different look here from the TSM squad, getting nice and aggressive very early with the Genji. 9 on the Widow as well, so very interesting look. Oh, needs to be careful, though. Does Trizzle's Genji here. Nice rotation from Halus here on that Mei. Gonna be making him a little bit scared. That's a big anti-nade, though. They need to be careful. Aggressive charge through here from Misty Falcon. Finds Slick. That's gonna make it tough for them to fight this one out, and TeamMist, TSG, completely dominating this. 0 kills for Calypso, a full team wipe for TSG, and full control of King's Road to get a 2-0 lead in the series.
You come out with 2 shield tanks because you want to be beefy, but it's not going to help you if half your team gets anti-naded, and if the nade gets behind the shield. I mean, I cannot stress enough.
Oh my god, it's a miracle. The Zarya got to play the game. This combo,
you know what? I feel like So this is always a point of contention for me. Does the Zarya deserve the play or does the Tracer?
The Zarya, like 1,000,000%.
Sure,
Because
but
if the
Tracer
Zarya,
killed
if the
everyone.
Zarya has no hands, the Tracer can't.
I mean, to be fair, both of them just pressed Q. Whose Q was more impressive, you know?
Well, I'm a Zarya player, so the Zarya's Q was more.
Although I've got to give it to Hamster. I think what factors into that is like he built up a second
Yeah.
grab so quickly, managed to get like the entire enemy team. It didn't get eaten by the enemy diva, and yeah, Pulse Bomb just cleaned up the rest.
I think to me that speaks to a lack of synergy between the two Calypso tanks, because what we saw a lot there was, or at least a decent amount, was Pale Native being isolated in these weird 1v1s with the Zarya, and that speaks to me. If you have a Rhine on your team, you should never ever be 1v1. You
Yeah.
should always be behind your Rhine shield or protecting the backline or doing something else. You shouldn't be left alone. And I think BK7 needs to just cool his boots just a little bit, not get so aggressive and get dropped so early. But TSG are not making it easy for him to play that Reinhardt.
Yeah, I think your front line is always working as a unit. No matter what composition you're playing, you are always a unit, and that's really important for both tank players. Now, what I will say, and I spoke a little bit about how divas can eat anti-nades and it can make a big difference. Zarya can cleanse. And it's got a self barrier and one projected barrier, so I can understand why some teams would want to still run the Zarya, because you could potentially get quite a bit of ult charge off of that, and as we saw, that ultimate is absolutely devastating. But again, I'm going to say, if your diva is skilled enough to be able to eat those nades, then that's definitely the pick you want to go with, because you can cleanse one person that's been naded apart from yourself, but if you eat the nade, you've saved everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Onus is on Diva to make the difference there, and that's kind of the catch-22 of playing Diva. You want to be aggressive and do stuff, but at the end of the day, you are a tank, and if you can just sit back, chow a few important abilities, that could make all the difference. So
Also-
looks like Slick, or at least Calypso, wants to take a short break, which I think is fair given their current situation. Maybe we just want to recharge, have a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to take a break or if we want to keep going. Yeah, let's
Break
take
works.
a 2 minute break here, and then we'll be back as soon as the team's ready to go.
And don't be talking, maybe your mama's flying high as a kite. And you're just like the next one, 'cause we'll be walking lonely tonight. Lonely tonight. If so,
Alright, guys, we are back. Apologies for the slight recess there. Calypso just trying to sort out a few internet issues, but no roster changes for either team. But it seems like a myriad of role changes for TSG. Misty Falcon, he'll be staying on the main tank, but Nyan moving from DPS onto that off tank position. Metal Snow going to be moving from support onto the DPS to replace Nyan, and Hamster going to be dropping from tank all the way down to support. Not sure what the rationale is behind these changes, but interested to see how they play out.
Well, you
Still
know, I kind
with
of
Naori
mentioned.
as well.
Yeah, still me. Hey. I kind of mentioned how I like seeing flexible players, and all right, well, here we go. We're going to see a little bit of that flexibility. Metal Snow coming from the support straight onto the Pharah, Hamster coming from the tank onto the Batiste, and Nyan going to swap it up from that hit scan up onto the Wrecking Ball. This is a really interesting defense here for First Point Anubis, and I like it. I like the spam damage because you can get a lot done spamming into this choke, particularly the
Yes.
choke on the right hand side. But at the same time, there's a lot of room to abuse it.
Mhm.
So I really want to see what Calypso is going to bring. You know, they're running the same thing they've been running the whole evening. What are they going to be able to do here to capitalize on whatever mistakes TSG make?
On paper, they actually have a decent comp to deal with the spam when you're running the Diva plus the Rhine Shield. But let's see if they're able to. It's as much about positioning as it is about how you use your heroes. Oh, aggressive play here from 9 on the ball. Misty Falcon with a huge fire strike. Finds one, he's frozen up. But a nice lamp from the newly minted support Hamster. Going to be keeping his main tank alive. That synergy living, whether they're both on tanks or whether they're on different roles. But it looks like TSG going to stamp their authority on the first point for now.
That was absolutely gross. A beautiful little pile drive there from Nyan meant that everybody was already fairly damaged. Fire strike into the mix, and you got a 2k for very little effort. And now they've managed to hold fairly well. Metal Snow did quite a bit of damage with those rockets as well. Already has that barrage ready to go. Some insane ult charge there. And you can see him sneaking around the back looking for that opening.
Oh no, he charged up so quickly. Metal Snow with the rocket barrage over the top.
Wow.
Finds a couple there. And a nice follow-up from the rest of TSG as he finishes off Rich NSA. Just clinical play here from TSG TeamMist.
I questioned that barrage because it was really, really high up, but it still managed to get just enough value. It got one pick off, but of course it did quite a bit of damage to the rest of the team, and a nice lamp thrown down there, the immortality field, to keep the Pharah alive through the barrage as well. Oh, Rich, no.
Rich going down there to an errant bomb from Trizzle. You know what? You don't like to see it here. There's 2 minutes left on the clock. They're going to commit the rip tire. Fine Slick as well, just to add insult to injury.
Oh.
Why not, right? Calypso need to switch it up here, I think. Find something that works a bit better than what they got going right now.
I want to see a Moira, I gotta be honest. I spoke a little bit earlier about how sustainability can really help. Now, Lucio is great for getting through chokes, and the speed boost can actually really help against spam as well, but just if you keep dying in the choke, you know.
You hate to watch this. You hate to watch it just come in and die over and over one at a time. But that said, Calypso, TSG, a little bit aggressive with the ultimates. After you get that pick, you don't actually need to commit anything. You can just let it go. Let them, if they want to commit, okay, Rich finds the kill, but if that risk, gonna make it seem like it didn't really ever happen.
I was really hoping for that kind of entry frag opening opportunity. Like, yeah, we got one, let's go. And then Mercy makes it a 7v6. So Farah's back up. And so now they're waiting in choke for the opportunity. Speed Boost's going to come out. And let's see, can they... Nice May wall. That could give them the opportunity they need to finally break through.
Very nice May wall here. Miss Jones dropping low. Needs to be careful here not to die to the Baptiste with the ulti up. Speaking of ultis, May ulti going in. The Blizzard, the High Noon, the Deadeye. So many ultis committed here, but nothing for Calypso. Finally, Hemisphere finds a kill, but it's not enough. Kills going both ways here. Pretty even fight. Pale does have his ulti here. If he chooses to commit it, he's going to get aggressive. I like that play onto the Farah, tracking down Metal Snow, and there's no rest for him as Mr. Falcon was brought back to life by Chef's Mercy, but it looks like Not enough in the tank here for Calypso, but they do have time, they do have space, and they do have superior spawns. Let's see if they can bring this fight back.
Oh, and a nice little exit frag there from
Ooh.
Rich as well, getting Trizzle down. And Rez was already used on the Reinhardt, so there
God.
is no... Okay. Alright, we evened it up, but there is spawn advantage, so there's potential here for Calypso.
They're playing so aggressively with this ball. You really love to see it. They have worked around to the point now. Is that a cheeky Symmetra? I see it is. The teleporter from Hemisphere going to put his team in a good position to take this one. But there are the mines. Oh no. Trizzle finds a kill with the rip tires. So much HP lost here for Calypso. They're not going to get a single tick here, it looks like. The best they can hope for in this map is a draw. As TSG looking dominant at the moment. Maybe I spoke too soon though. Rich finds a kill onto Hamster after Hemisphere found a kill on somebody else there. Hemisphere finds another one. Chef getting tickled to death by the Symmetra turrets. Can they actually do this? Pale managing to remake himself on the point here. Is this what we're really watching? Did they really just bring this back? Calypso? Hello? Okay,
This turret
Calypso.
literally just carried them to a fight when Symmetra so busted if you don't know how to deal with her.
Yeah.
I'm actually amazed that they managed to get that much value out of it, but massive props to Calypso for making it work.
100%. I think TSG just lost concentration, lost their discipline. We spoke about Calypso on the previous map, but TSG need to take a note out of their own book there and just keep the focus up right until the end.
Alright, well, it looks like Hami's going to be sticking on the Symmetra for the time being. That did work out quite well for them previously. I like seeing the swap over onto the Winston. Not too sure how well it's going to fare for the moment. You know, that bubble can get burnt down quite quickly. But with Trizzle on the Widowmaker now, there's a lot less spam damage from TSG. I'm going to have to compete with Rich and SA, and we have seen he has quite a scary hit scan.
Indeed. Oh no, that charge was tragic. Hemisphere taken down, but there are kills coming in for Calypso here. But Respawn's gonna favor the blue team here. TeamMist gonna be feeling pretty comfortable. Medisto dropping low. Any hits on him? Yes. Rich follows up. That Widow making such a big difference. He finds another one. Rich flexing his Widow muscle here. The hit scan master getting so many kills. Follow up Pale Native is good as well. Can Rich find any more here on the Widowmaker so far? Not really, but that Pharaoh, not long for this world. She commits the ulti. She finds Slick. That might actually be quite a big deal here as the rest of the team comes in on the respawns. The minefield goes down as well, and it's looking pretty decent, but a nice ulti here from Miss Jones. Gonna keep the rest of Calypso quite healthy as Pale Native remix. Mystic Falcon dropping low, taken down. The DPS finally kicking up some kills again here on the side of Calypso, but Metal Snow, he's alive and healthy. Rich has been taken down. Good focus fire from the Pharaoh, taking down his counter here. But it looks like he's getting aggressive. What am I watching? BK7, please leave the Pharaoh alone. Please, what is this? Hello? Okay. Got him, BK7. Pure tactical, comes back in, almost gets pinned right away, gets a nano for his troubles though. Do they have enough here? It doesn't look good. It has to be said for Calypso as the kills come in, but Hemisphere picking up 2, the resurrection not going down. Hemisphere make that 3. Is he gonna get a 4th one here on this thing? He gets his ulti up. There goes the shield down. He's gonna pick up another one. Metal Snow dropping down. Rich finally back in the mix here. BK7 picks up another. Are we watching Calypso close this one out? Yes, we are. With 45 seconds on the clock, that is what you call a complete comeback.
What did I tell you about dive?
Yeah.
What I wanted to see, and they made it work. And I gotta say, BK7 on that Winston, quite scary. I'm disappointed that we waited this long to see that. Where was this Calypso 10 minutes ago?
They were trying their hardest to make the meta comp work, but we spoke about it heading into King's Row. Sometimes you just gotta yeet yourself into the mix there and see what happens.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you'll surprise even yourself. And I think that's probably what happened with that Symmetra pick. No one was expecting it to work that well.
I'm interested to know what the call was there. Was Hemisphere just like, you know what, guys, screw it. I'm just gonna run flipping Symmetra here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they use the teleporter to get onto point to try and bypass a lot of the spam, but at the same time, it's still like, okay, it worked.
Yeah. But it's a smart call. Like you say, they were struggling to get in the door in the first place. But once they managed to do that, you know, there has to be said a little bit of a lapse in concentration from TSG was a big assistance in that particular team fight. But still, once they got in the fight, anything can happen, and that's what you saw there.
And that's the thing, because, you know, I spoke about not dealing with Symmetra. I mean, turrets they don't have a ton of health. You really can just shoot them down. But
Yeah.
that being said, a lot of teams don't see them. They kind of just run into them. They don't get the opportunity to burn them down. And then you have a situation like what we saw. And once Hemi built up the charge on that beam, I mean, oh wow, he was pretty terrifying.
Oh, nice play from Nine's ball there. Gonna be displacing them, but Rich gets the pick on Metal Snow. That's literally all he's here for. If you can just kill the Pharaoh every team fight, the team Calypso will be very happy with his contribution. But playing into that Mercy is gonna be quite tough as he brings him back. And Trizzle on that Genji gonna be making like the bigger frame. Meanwhile, Hamster on the Ana going to be keeping his team healthy. That's asleep. Onto Ryan. He needs to be careful. BK7 playing too aggressive there. And Metal Snow finding the kills in the background. That Pharaoh not dealt with. As soon as they pushed Rich out of position, the whole House of Cards came crumbling down. And TSG firmly in control of the point right now.
BK, where was your Winston? There's so many beautiful high grounds here that you can abuse with that big old monkey. Unfortunately, that was a very, very dominant take from TSG. Looking very, very strong right now as we move on to point 2 with just under 6 minutes to attack. They've also got the Wrecking Ball mines ready to go. They're going to have the Nano Boost very soon as well. Well, there we go. Nano Boost is up. They're going to have Blade fairly soon. So, Dragon Blade.
I'd like to see them play a little bit patient here, pull that blade up and then go for the kill. Mine's going in here. This is really bad. A big shatter. He finds BK7, Misty Falcon with that nano boost. Gonna mix up with Metal Snow. Finds 5. Give him the 6k, please. Let him get that kill. No, 9. What are you doing? He did get the team back, Mick, but still, TSG with 5 minutes left on the clock, gonna make absolutely awesome. They completely control things out here. There's still a Genji Blade in the bag. There's still a couple of ultis in the bag here. There's the Valkyries popped as well by Chef. Trizzle gonna be picking up 2 as Hamster gets the kill on the mech. They're still in the mixture, and sometimes all it takes is one kill for the defending team, but they're not able to find that yet. They've gotten 0 kills, it feels like, on this defense. So far, so good for the TSG side, showing that win over OG wasn't a fluke, but slick. Okay, there's the 1 kill. I said this is where it can all start to unravel rather. But with Chef on that Mercy, makes it so hard to get any positive aggression here in if you're the Calypso side. But they do get 2 kills finally. Are we witnessing the comeback here? Comeback after comeback after comeback, and it looks like. Yeah, it looks like they're gonna hold this one. TSG gonna just back out. Good disciplined play from them, it has to be said.
Yeah, BK back on that Winston, abusing those high grounds, doing a ton of work there. Now, we saw a lot of ultimates used here from TSG, but they have another barrage ready to go. And we saw what happened the last time Metal Snow had a barrage. It was a bloodbath. Can he get the same kind of results as he moves forward here? There's going to be a Blade and a Nano soon.
There's the barrage. He finds Slick in the backline there. Pale Native a little bit slow to respond on that Diva, pushes him back, and they do find Hamster though. Maybe that's enough, but they do have Chef on that Mercy. Gonna be for the raise in all likelihood. Tracer here, Rich is back in the mix. Can he find anything? Not so good just yet. Oh, Shadow down, taking down Slick with that coalescence. Pale Native not able to get in. And that's round 2 complete, because I completely forgot that Calypso full capped the first time. But anyways, heading into overtime here on Temple of Anubis.
Really big time bank for TSG. That's like 4 minutes. That is a 3-minute difference. But we have seen comebacks from worse scenarios. So I'm not gonna throw in my hat just yet. I think there's definitely a possibility here for a turnaround. I mean, TSG did it on Oasis. Who's to say Calypso can't do it on Anubis? Let's see if they can do that. I'm curious to see what we're going to see because we are going to have Calypso on the attack the first time. And we saw what they ran on attack that actually eventually won them the point. But it seems, okay, so they're going to stick with the Symmetra, but possibly just the Reinhardt. Over on the defense, it's the same thing we saw the last time. I like seeing the Batiste. There's a ton of burst healing there, and it means that your Mercy can safely stay up in the sky with the Pharah, and the rest of the team is more or less covered. So I'm not too concerned with the defense. What I'm really wondering about is BK going to stay on that Reinhardt, or we're going to see some of that Winston we saw earlier? Because I got to say, I'm a big fan.
Me too. That said, though, they did cap using this composition. They capped first with this comp, with the Symmetra. So it seems like they just want to get on the point and brawl from there. But we do have to remember as well, they scraped through that attack. That was a lot of, 50-50s going their way. So we'll have to see if they manage to get in, get on, and get the first point here with less than a minute on the clock. So far, though, tough to push in. That ball actually making such a big difference. 9. Like, it's so hard for them to move like they want to. Trizzle finds Miss Jones. That's not a good start. It's BK7 on this Reinhardt, trying his best to keep it. Nice counter charge at least. Can they get punished here? No. But Metal Snow on this Pharah, he's completely uncounted, uncontested. Rich was taken down by a nice aggressive movement there. And it looks like they're just going to full hold you. One team fight was all they had. A nice stagger there. Gets punched in the butt. Metal Snow on Pale Native. And it looks like Calypso are going to struggle to get back in here.
The problem with one of these surprising compositions, but that hasn't been rehearsed in any way, is that once it's happened the first time, yeah, it's pretty easy to figure out how to counter it.
Yeah, BK7 did manage to buy his team some overtime here, but it's not looking like they're going to get anywhere. Pale Native on the point, but he's going to get demicked. He's going to get taken down. Stagger him just for fun. Why not? Just stagger him. Just let it go. Hamster deciding, let's just secure this map rather. Let's not take any risks. Hemisphere found his way back in on the Tracer here. There's a Moira running her little self into the point, but she's not going to make it. And Metal Snow, just completely uncontested in the sky, making all the difference there.
Yep, TSG, they saw that strat the first time around, took them by surprise. Second time around, yeah, they weren't taking any prisoners that time. They knew what to expect, and they countered it really well. And as you say, that Pharah in the sky being uncontested, it's so dangerous, particularly when you have that Mercy pocket. You've got to be dealing with that. You've got the Diva. And then again, we kind of spoke about this on Thursday as well, but how do you decide as the Diva where your main focus is going to be? Are you going to be supporting your Reinhardt, protecting your backline, assassinating the Pharah? She's got so much on her plate to deal with, and unfortunately just wasn't able to deal with that Pharah. And that's really when you need something like a counter, not a counter Widow, but either a counter Pharah or a Widow to try and help deal with that Pharah in the sky. Leaving a strong Pharah uncontested, never a good idea.
100%. I like this little play here. This is an Owl Season 2 strat, Season 1 strat. Defending on this high ground with the Orisa. The thing is, I don't think the Rhine really fits in here. I think you'd rather have a Diva.
Oh, yes.
But it makes a decent amount of sense when you remember that you have to fight on point. So he can drop down and start swinging away. But he will be a little bit isolated. So I do worry about this composition for Calypso. But I like the creativity of this.
Now, no Widowmaker this time around. I think possibly using the McCree for his role mobility. We'll see how well that works out for them. I agree.
Oh no! Oh,
that's why you want the Diva.
Nyan in the background. He just completely dismantled the squad here. They find the kill on Pale. They find the kill on Slick. Complete dismantling there from the wrecking ball. Just push them exactly where he wanted them to be. And it's just a systematic cleanup right now. Metal Snow, he's got all the support he needs. Although they're not actually cleaning up here quite like they need to. But Trizzle on that Widowmaker, gonna make short work of Rich. I think at this point would rather be on the Widowmaker on his own. He finds a kill on BK7, and it's gonna be a nice easy cap here. It looks like they want to go cap point B as well, but Hemisphere comes in on the point here along with Miss Jones. Can they make anything happen? It's a 4v2. It seems a bit of a bold play here, but they don't really have a choice, and that's a cap. TSG, TeamMist, making themselves look very, very strong here.
You were enjoying that far too much.
I saw it coming from a mile away, and they're just not going to respond. It's just, is it going to happen? Yep. The whole team, every single player moved off the high ground.
Man, that's so unfortunate. Really sad for Calypso. They had a very strong start, but they just weren't able to maintain. And that's a 3-0, if I'm not mistaken.
That was the most 3-0 I've ever seen. Yeah, so before we go anywhere now, we do of course have to decide on our player of the match. A few options to pick from here, I think. But who did you think was the MVP?
Now you're asking me a question. Yeah, okay, I can hear some chants from the producer in my ear. I will not be swayed.
It's the crowd.
It's the crowd. I gotta say, for me, it'll be between Slick and either Hemi or Metal Snow. But I want to give it to Slick because I really like support players, and I think his Anna did a lot of work tonight.
Even in the losing effort.
You know, yeah, he did his best. Some
Um,
great anti-nades came through.
I'm gonna give it to. For me, it was either between Hamster and Metal Snow, but I'm gonna give it to Metal Snow here for the simple reason I want to hear some behind some of what TeamMist is doing. So we will pull Metal Snow in for an interview if you don't mind me making that executive
Yeah, go
decision
for it.
there.
Oh yeah, we gotta leave her. No. Oh no. Expect Discord sounds, everybody. Just wait for it.
Let us jump into the channel. Find it. Is okay.
Badonk.
We just have to pray that Metal Snow finds his way into this. But yeah, I think we saw throughout the series a dominant performance from Metal Snow's Farah there, and I think perhaps a bit of recency bias, but he looked unstoppable on those last couple of maps.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of really good play from both of those teams. But so the reason I kind of tossed it up between Metal Snow and Hemi was just because of Hemi's the Symmetra on that last map. Just the decision behind that must have been very interesting to witness.
Okay, who is Source?
Hello, that is me, Metal Snow.
Okay,
Oh,
welcome,
hey.
Mr.
Hi,
Snow.
guys.
Congrats on winning the game. Pretty dominant performance there. Was that what you guys were expecting, or was that quite a surprise for you?
You know, I think we came in feeling a little bit too confident. You can see on the first Oasis map, we definitely got
Yeah.
rolled the first point. But that was the outcome we were expecting. But Calypso definitely played better than we expected. So,
Awesome. So
What happened on that first map?
yeah,
realistically, lack of practice. We haven't played as a team. Well, we basically play as a team once a week when we have our games. That's about it.
Oh, no.
So we really weren't very coordinated. Didn't
well, you
have
guys are
a actual
surprisingly
plan.
good for so little practice as it is.
Yeah, I guess our team has potential, but we don't really capitalize on it.
I see.
Is this
So-
like
well,
unidentified 2.0?
Yeah. So let's go back a week maybe and talk about your match against OG and how it affects your confidence coming into this. And you guys said you were quite confident coming into this, but going to the OG match, I think you guys were a little more on the back foot, but you managed to clean that one up as well, 3-0. So how did that affect your mindset coming into this?
Yeah, it was definitely a boost in confidence. I mean, OG is definitely a very good team. You know, a lot of competent players. So, 3-0ing them definitely was a good boost for morale for the team as a whole.
Awesome. The other question I had to ask is one
Yeah.
about your composition switches, or rather your role switching. Is
Yeah.
there some rationale behind that, or you just kind of yeet some stuff at the wall and see what works?
I just enjoy playing Farah on Anubis, to be honest.
Okay.
So we basically play a ball Farah setup when we swap onto Anubis map. Yeah, so we have a few map-specific compositions
Okay.
which involve role changes.
That's
But
very
usually
interesting.
I stick on supports. Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool. Nari, anything from your side?
No.
What did you... Since when are you Nari? Excuse me. Identity theft happening here. Now I lost my question. Oh yeah. What did you think of the Symmetra pick from Calypso?
I guess it could have worked. Probably not what we would have run in that situation. I don't think Symmetra works very well when you're playing like Farah Junkrat and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to
Well,
take
I
care
mean,
of it.
it worked
Although they
fairly
did-
well on their first attack, which is...
Oh, is
the
that the
main thing.
Symmetra attack? Oh,
Yeah, the one where they actually cap point. You're not playing that game?
He's in the sky, bro, on that Farah. Just it doesn't matter what they're playing.
okay. we weren't expecting the Symmetra. Came out all of a sudden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all from my side. Anything from your side, Sam?
No, that's it for me.
Well played then to TSG, Metal Snow.
Thanks
Do you
so
have
much.
any socials where we can find you on the internet?
Eesh, I don't know any of our pages.
Oi.
Well, you don't have a Twitter or anything?
I do not know.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fine then. I think it's at TSG Gaming.
Yeah, something
on
like that.
Twitter. Something, I don't know. Google it. You'll find it. My
Thanks
name
so
has been
much.
SunPheonyx. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining
Yeah, thanks
us.
for casting.
No problem.
Awesome.
Sam, where can we find you on the internet?
Search NaoriMizuki. If you can't find me, I'm not on that platform.
Is NaoriMizuki an anime character or something?
So Naori Uchiha is from Naruto.
You know what? Should I have asked?
You know what? It's a long story.
So if they Google it, they'll find you and not the anime character.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That was the whole point of that. Anything
fair
you want to
enough.
pimp? Otherwise, any tournaments? Any of those kinds of things?
Well, there's going to be another Scuffed Bucks tournament next month, but details to follow on my social media. So, and that's a paid tournament, and you will play against top tier 3 teams, which some teams might not want to do, but it's good practice and it's good fun. So, if you're interested or interesting, a little bit of both, keep an eye on my socials.
Awesome. We, like I said at the beginning, at the top of the broadcast, production today was handled by ThePeachZA at ThePeachZA on Twitter. You're on his Twitch channel now. I don't know what it's called. At ThePeachZA everywhere. If you want to find him, you want to get a hold of him, if you want to flame him for not having the kill feed up. I don't know how he plays the game without the kill feed up, but it's a good thing he's not on a team, because it would be a disaster, frankly. But yeah, at ThePeachZA everywhere. My name has been SunPheonyx at SunPheonyx. It's a very fancy spelling, and you have to get it right, or I'll be very mad. Yeah, because there's 100 Phoenixes in the community, and I am the best one. And yeah, that's been some Overwatch TSG, taking that one 3-0 over Calypso. Thanks for joining us. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.